any countries aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS,
That's right,
will be charged with an additional 10% tariff. Can you tell us more details on that?
That BRICS is seeking to undermine the interests of the United States. He'll take any action necessary to prevent countries from taking advantage of the United States and our people.
Are there concerns within the White House or from the president himself over the cuts that happened under Musk?
I think I've already addressed that, Kristen, and what I can tell you is that these offices were fully staffed.
President Trump reconsidering his plan to phase out FEMA.
The president wants to ensure American citizens always have what they need during times of need. Whether that assistance comes from states or the federal government, that's a policy discussion that will continue.
Still the president's plan to phase FEMA out by the end of this year.
I just answered Kristen's question for you.
Is President Trump reconsidering his plan to phase out FEMA, given what officials have said is their critical role on the ground now in Texas?
Look, the president wants to ensure American citizens always have what they need during times of need. Whether that assistance comes from states or the federal government, that's a policy discussion that will continue. And the president has always said he wants states to do as much as they can, if not more. And in the case of Texas, the state and local officials are doing a tremendous job. And I know the president, Secretary Noem, and the federal government are very proud to be working with them. And the president has promised to give Texas the assistance that they need during this tragic time.
Just one follow-up on cuts overall. Over the weekend, President Trump said that Elon Musk was a train wreck. Are there, given this current viewpoint, are there concerns within the White House or from the president himself over the cuts that happened under Musk while he was advising DOGE, including the National Weather Service?
I think I've already addressed that, Kristen, and what I can tell you is that these offices were fully staffed. The San Angelo office was fully staffed with 12 forecast meteorologists. There were no vacancies. The San Antonio office was operating with 11 forecasters, and as Brian said, the union themselves said that there was adequate staffing. So I think those words speak for themselves, and the numbers speak for themselves. This was a once-in-a-century flash flood, a tragic natural disaster, and the administration is doing all that we can on the ground to help these families during this time of need. Jeff.
Thanks very much, Caroline. Just following up on Kristen's question, is it still the president's plan to phase FEMA out by the end of this year?
I just answered Kristen's question for you.
One more, hold on, one more.
Sure, I'll give it to you. Go ahead.
The follow-up on trade as well. 12 more letters coming, you said. Can you give us a sense of which countries those are?
I'll let the president reveal those in very due time. Keep your eyes on Truth Social. Michael, in the back.
Thank you, Caroline. An armed shooter today was shot in McAllen, Texas, after opening fire on Border Patrol agents. It comes just days after Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal recently said she gets, quote, inspired when activists obstruct ICE. Does the White House expect Democrats to tone down their rhetoric in light of what we saw today in McAllen, Texas?
We certainly call on Democrats to tone down their rhetoric against ICE and Border Patrol agents who, again, are everyday men and women. I would encourage AOC and other Democrats to actually meet with the United States Border Patrol. These are honorable Americans who are just simply trying to do their job to enforce the law. They go home to their families every night just like we all do, and they deserve respect and dignity for trying to enforce our nation's immigration laws and to remove public safety threats from our communities. The White House is aware of the shooting that took place today in Texas, and we are working with the appropriate federal agencies to get to the bottom of what happened.
Caroline, the DOJ and FBI have now concluded there was no Jeffrey Epstein client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes to be held accountable?
This administration wants anyone who has ever committed a crime to be held accountable, and I would argue this administration has done more to lock up bad guys than certainly the previous administration. And the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the President's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it contained child pornography, which is not something that's appropriate for public consumption. But they committed to an exhaustive investigation. That's what they did, and they provided the results of that. That's transparency.
Follow up on that,
Sure.
Caroline. Okay, so the FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk.
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network, on Fox
I've
News.
got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has led to the arrest of 14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase from the same time period last year. So this Attorney General and the FBI Director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong. They promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department. We will get you a response if you follow up with my team. We will find out for you.
Caroline?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline.
Iris, go
Thank
ahead.
you. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Caroline. On two topics. First,
I
on
love how
tariffs.
excited everyone is on Monday. Yes, Raquel, you can go after.
On two topics. First, tariffs. The president announced last night that any countries aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS
That's right.
will be charged with an additional 10% tariff. Can you tell us more details on that? What specific policies is the president talking about here? What policies should countries stay away from to avoid being subject to additional tariffs?
Sure. Well, the president feels, generally speaking, that BRICS is seeking to undermine the interests of the United States. It's the president's utmost responsibility to put the interests of the United States first. That's how he views his job as president. So he's going to ensure that America is fairly treated on the world stage, and he'll take any action necessary to prevent countries from taking advantage of the United States and our people. Raquel, go ahead.
On the legal immigrants, Reuters Tom Homan told us this morning that ICE will have to arrest 7,000 illegal immigrants every day for the remainder of this administration to just catch the ones that were let in during the last administration. I'm wondering what the new resources and manpower, of course, given by the Big Beautiful Bill, which of course opens the door for ICE to hire additional 10,000 agents and officers. What's the administration's expectations now for daily arrest numbers going forward in the upcoming months?
Sure. I'll let the Secretary of Homeland Security and her department speak on what they're looking for in terms of daily numbers. What I can tell you is I receive the daily reports each morning, and ICE is out there doing the jobs that they swore an oath to do, and they are removing public safety threats from our communities every day, and our country is becoming a safer place because of their efforts. And the One Big Beautiful Bill that is now law will give significant resources to ICE and Border Patrol to continue the tremendous work that they are already doing. And I think every American who wants to live in a safe neighborhood should be grateful for their efforts.
Thank you, Caroline, so much.
Raquel, and then I can go to you.
So much.
And then you,
follow-up on-
Dr. Harper.
Thank you, Caroline. It's a follow-up on the BRICS question. So does President Trump believe that the BRICS are getting stronger or trying to isolate the United States? And how close is he monitoring this summit that is taking place in Brazil right now?
He's closely monitoring it, which is why he put out a statement himself. He does not perceive these countries as growing stronger. He just perceives them as trying to undermine the United States' interests, and that's not okay with him, no matter how strong or weak a country may be.